Fine.
Happy Wednesday. How is it Wednesday already? How is it November 8th? My goodness. Obviously, Christmas music is ringing throughout the house at this. Christmas plans being made. Festivus for the rest of us. I'm celebrator. Good afternoon, Fred. Good to see you. Good afternoon, Mark. Wonderful Wednesday to you, Dennis. Yo, John. Welcome to the trade noon. Closing bell. My name is Scott. I am the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. This is my outdated bio. One day I'll have a full bio. These are the disclosures. This is our social media presence. It's all here for you. Everything you want to know, we're in these slides. I went through it. If you want to stick around and talk about the market, let's do that. S&P up. Nope. S&P down 0.05. So marginal for the S&P and the NASDAQ. The Russell giving it back. Down 1%. Crude is down a couple of percent. Wall Street's longest win streak. And of course it's going to fade. It was a full V. V bottomed. It's done enough for the time being. Of like, oh, it's fading. Well, what did you think it was going to do exactly then? You thought it was just going to keep going and just every day a little higher, and a few months later we're like, wow, look at that, we're up 40%. Okay, let's have a serious conversation now. Of course it's going to ebb. Of course buyers are going to take a break and the sellers are going to take some profits. Maybe there's still some bears who are not convinced. They're like, it's going to be a recession. I know it. And they're shorting it. I don't know. You don't know? Gas inflation, remote work. Hi. I've been working remote for 10 years. I love it. Every time I look out and it's now Feds Williams, central bank's policymaking now more strategic. What does that mean, Mr. Williams? What does that mean to you? It's more strategic. Are you telling me that prior to this, you guys are like, you know what? We don't need strategy. Let's just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. You're better than that, Mr. Williams. You're far from the chair. You're far the judge of that. Whoa, what else? That's about it. We're not really seeing much. Oh, Dow Jones rises after Powell's speech. Does it though? Does it? We get a little premature sometimes. What does Stella think? Because she's looking, but this is a bullish consolidation to me. Just it looks like about a 50% consolidation right there. That's a pretty set off and shift a little bit this way. We start to see this thing kick up. Honestly, this is supportive of a bullish narrative, just not in the short term. I'm not bullish today. What am I today? Neutral. I'm not really bearish either, but I am neutral. And so in a neutral posture, if I'm going to put bearish trades on, where and when? At or near resistance. Where are we? At or near resistance. So if you're going to trade bearishly, this is it. Here's what happens. People will be like, oh, this market's going to pull back, so I'm going to trade bearishly. And then they might put 3, 4, maybe too many on. And then all of a sudden, when this market at, because you're trying to trade every swing, you might just say, like, you know what? I'm not bearish enough to put bearish trades on. I'm going to watch. I would have to expect at this point, with your short-term bullish trades you've taken, because I'll let my winners run. Giddy up. All right, what else? Dennis is already calling out he's a B. I'm going to make exactly what I would do. Everybody knows that. QQQ looks bullish, still kind of pushing higher. John Blind calling A. Q still looks pretty bullish. Whoops. I hate when I do that. Let's go back to the toolbox. And let's take a look at the Dow. So, how are you trading? If you're willing to share with me. Hopefully you had a nice, chunky bit of recovery, right? And you regained or even surpassed, maybe, depending on what your August and September, October look like, favorite months. DWM. Stella's a bit all over the place. Oh, IWM looks strong. Broken its consolidation. Got up to this new high. Small pullback. Yeah, what would I trade? IWM. I'm not interested in putting on individual small cap trades. I'd trade some options on IWM. I think that looks good. There's a lot of things, I think. Where are we here? Well, you can see here, we have a tendency to see what? I mean, this says we're down to 9%. I would actually argue that, well, yeah, I mean, right through here, right? That was the big crisscross that was missed. But all of a sudden, we get this big move up, and look what we always have right at the end of October, that big move up. And then what? And then a consolidation. Could last a week. A little more, you might get some entries. If you take early entries here, because I want to know that it looks like a mild pullback. That first, this is number 2, okay? Arrow number 1 is going to, if it comes like that, it pulls back, it starts to turn, and you're like, ooh, if this is a bull flag, that's it. And it may be that is the only window we get, or it may turn and then pull back one last time and then go, which is what happened for number 2. I'm pretty sure that we're all going to take some trades on arrow number 1. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Don't let them turn into losers unnecessarily. Don't get aggressive with them. Then on arrow number 2, like, and this is an if, but I'm just saying, I'm definitely watching this kind of thing to happen to understand all about the Santa rallies. Nothing makes me happier. Nothing makes me happier as a lover of crypto rally. Economic calendar, there's not much of this today. Tomorrow we have basic jobless claims, which has been low 200s, nothing there. Powell speak at the IMF. He's on the panel. I don't know if he's expectation there, more Fed speak. Not much on Monday. Next week on Tuesday, that's when the inflation data comes. All right. Here's how it looks today. Technology showing some strength. Yeah, we see that there. So that's technology. Microsoft looks okay. I mean, again, but we're not really looking for like, oh, I want it strong. I actually would like to see things pulling back. Pulling back means I'm closer to a trade. Intel probably is going to be closer to a trade. Adobe starting. Walmart maybe. Some of these financials. These ones are going to still be a little bit away from us, as we see here in just a second when we take a look. So what do we know? We know that the market is in kind of a, what would we call this, tombstone doji today. Buyers opened it. We really didn't test much higher. It's mostly been lower, but the sellers pushed it down. It's off the lows, but the sellers, you can smell them. I smell them. I don't just see them. Smell it? Yep. That's them. But that's, yeah. I'm sure you all smell it too. Pretty hard sell, and then it recovered a little bit. Let's see what you can do. Let's see. Am I going to trade? Am I going to personally trade any earnings today? No. Are there any big ones today? Who's reporting today? I'll be honest. I haven't liked the way that it's moved. I don't know. Has Vlad still been doing a lot of iron condors on earnings? What's been your observation from this earnings season? Good, great, awesome. Have one you want to look at? Throw it at me. We'll take a look. Disney SU, is that Suncor? Suncor Energy? Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. You don't have a lot built into this anyways. 36%. Back here, you dropped 40 to 32. I mean, you might see a drop. It just sold off into the earnings conference call tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Releasing the data. If you could build it at 34 on one side, and that would put you around 28 on the other. 34 could be in jeopardy, but that's probably what I would look at. 34 by 35, 28 by 27. Maybe we'll take a look. Disney, a lot of vol pumped in here. You'll get maybe 6-7% drop. I would probably want to put my range like 90 up, 6 down, 90 by 78. 78 gets you below these lows. 90 gets you back all the way up to, not to these highs, but to this, and above all of this. Something like that. How's TLT looking? TLT's making a little bit of a comeback here. 5%. The hard thing with calendar spreads is that, and you should take a look at them. You're going to be pretty Vega positive on a calendar spread. You're theta positive, so you make money from time. But on a calendar, long Vega, and we don't want to be long Vega prior to earnings because our expectations are on both of those 6 to 7% drops. So whatever your positive Vega is, multiply that by 6 or 7. That's how much you're going to lose overnight when the options start trading post volatility crush. That's why we do iron condors or naked strangles, because those are Vega negative trades. IV crush is 50, what it is typically, right? Now this is the last look at the last 2 times. It dropped from 38. Here it dropped from 40 to 29. That was a pretty good drop, actually, right? This time we're not as high. This time we're only, because your volatility as Vega is expressed as dollars per point. So if you look at your Vega and your Vega says it's a positive 30, that means you're going to lose $30 times 7 points, 210. 210's coming out. You need to overcome that with your delta. If you're long options, your theta is going to eat you a little bit too, right? Those are how the Greeks impact trades. But I am absolutely expecting volatility to drop. So if I'm going to hold a trade through earnings, this is one of the reasons why long strangles doesn't work. Long strangles is double long Vega. So it sucks the value out of both of them when the volatility bleeds out. Anything you hold through earnings, it's going to suck the volatility out. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about the VIX. They've been sucked out. Premiums are now. Here's the hard thing: you're losing money from volatility. This has sucked a lot of value from your Vega is sucking value, has come out of the market. That has a negative impact on us, right? That has a negative impact. Okay. Microsoft. Okay. Look, I absolutely think it's time for some profit taking if you haven't. I agree with that 100%. Here is where we are now. Let's see where we want to be. Okay. Above 437. B's, you get this 50-cent range, but we've been in this range for like the last 2 hours, right? All the way back to there. You get that range. C's back below 436.5. A, B, C. I'm going to ask Stella, but I'm not necessarily going to go with what she says. I might go different. She's pretty good. She's pretty good at the quiz show. That's not what I wanted. What do we have coming in here? I've already had a couple reported. John's an A. Mark's a B. Let's see what Stella is. SPY go. Intraday go. Stella says that at 10 p.m. at 52. Oh, 436.52, which we said 436.50. So Stella's a B. Stella is a B. I'm going to go A. I'm going to join John. Okay, has anyone else said it? John's an A. Dennis is a B. Fred's a B. Martine is a B. Brad is a B. All right, fair enough. He showed up for a few days in a row not long ago, and then just kind of disappeared again. And I'm like, oh, Angelique, we will ring bullish votes in your name. All right. Let's get looking at some things. So where are we? We just had this 7 days. Now we're just kind of stalled. What has our volume done for the last 3 as we've tested and just sort of like, we're like, hello, what's everyone doing over here? We're at like 70% now, likely to be even less, even as the volume drops, maybe 60% today. What does this tell us? It tells us that the buyers certainly dried up. Does that mean I'm not bullish anymore? No. There's volume days, but pretty soon we're going to start losing some of these negative volume days. So my score is going to organically, continue to improve the way that I assess the volume component of the market. We are at or near resistance. Things just made this big move. We can't be like, oh, okay, now what? Now it needs to take a breath, or at least we have to give it the that might come into play. That's down here around 426. Might not even go that far, right? It might drop down here to 430 and then just stabilize and then take off. So I have to be ready for that. I have to be ready. It could do. This is what the cyclical we said might happen. That we might see it pull back like this and then turn and then do it again. And then from that point turn and then move and then make that move. Something along those lines. That's what the cyclical shows us. Either way we look at it, you have to be patient right now. It's hard. I don't see how you could show me, unless you're intraday trading, right? If you're swing trading, there's no reward to risk here. You're at resistance. You need a consolidation, period. And you're going to see that's the pattern across the board as we go through our watch list. Apple's up even a little higher today, but look at that price volume divergence. Price up a little higher on significantly less volume. Are the sellers like, hey, here come the sellers? No, not yet. It's been nothing but buyers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That wasn't, but even that day, even when the sellers tried, nothing happened. 6, 7, 8 out of 9 days. Even on the one day, it really didn't do much. It just sort of, bam, popped higher. We took out this high. We took out this level. We're all the way back at or even slightly above this level here. Fear that's come out of here. Fear that really magnified last earnings. And then again over here when we had that weird China report. Okay, great. I just need I just need the opportunity now. Have to come all the way back down here. Tested higher. Now we're negative. Not negative a lot, but our overbought signal has crossed. Things are starting to the buyers have ebbed. Now, there are some that are a little different. This one hit resistance here, and it actually pulled back for a couple of days, and it gave a little bit of a consolidation. And it looks like it may be trying to turn out of that. So something like that, that would be something that I think you could consider a valid. And then I'd say, can I get 2 or 3 times it to the upside? Does that give me some potential here? If I answer yes, then I've got great, let's roll it. Let's see what happens. Absolutely. I have time before earnings. Or maybe she's a voice of prudence. Stella says, yeah, looks pretty good coming out of this on up to at least 1926 or so. Is that enough? That's not a lot. That's not a lot. I would definitely want to see this. Beautiful. What a beautiful pullback this is. Now what do we see? We see the third day of selling candle on diminishing volume. What does that tell us about these sellers? They were never strong to begin with. Volume. It's not ramping up. It's easy. Volume. It's not ramping up. It's easing up. If we go here and we look at the model for this, it's like, nope. All right, so maybe not yet. I think this is going to turn around. Maybe a higher low. Now, if Stella's right, what will happen? If it does that, am I still thinking, oh, I'm going to trade it for sure? No, if it comes all the way back down to here, my assessment is invalid. And I have to reassess it. Great, that's no problem. A reassessment has no charge. AIG, let's see, is this a favorable alternative? Oh, okay. Well, looky. Candidate. I like that. AIG on the list. Getting close, getting ready. Could be another day or two, could be a little longer. We don't know. Let's be ready. Come back. Amazon looks like it's trying to. Now we're down 0.7%. Clearly, this is moving now into where or overbought. We're crossing down. Our expectation would be a pullback. First stop for me, probably here around 133. Let's see what happens. This has a little consolidation. This is a flag pattern right here. I'm ready. As you can see, it's broken support to the downside. CPRT all the way up. A little bit of a hanging man / tombstone doji right at resistance. What does that tell me? Volume has dropped off. There's nothing here that makes us think it's going to break resistance. Gather the troops. Take a breath. Get some rest. We'll make another charge after we pull back to 45 and regroup. CrowdStrike. It's overextended. What are you still waiting? Waiting for a crazy one. Waiting for a pullback. A lot of waiting for a pullback. Heard there was another bank failure. I didn't hear there was a failure, but I definitely heard that there's a lot of bank asset sheets stretched thin by the losses. Point. If they weather the storm, they just have to get to maturity and get all their money back, right? But the losses on these assets are now that they're issuing debt at much higher interest rates. Debt that pays 1% is lower in value. The only way to avoid the lower value is to hold it. It gets paid back the full principal as long as it's still solvent. So that's the problem. What's going on here? DHI, it's way overbought. I mean, God, you can see this thing was just consolidating for months and months. And then all of a sudden right here, it turned. And then right, traded this one and this one that failed and abruptly reversed on you and gave it all back. I don't know, right? Is that appealing? A little bit. As most things do, Fastenal already pulling back. I think I like CPRT better. But oh, look at it. Gold's pulling back here. Google looks overextended, but it has shown enough buying pressure that I'm like, okay. I was a little concerned that leaders like Google and Meta have shine. That looks reasonable. Question is, do you have time? Does it pull back and turn and give you a signal prior to pull back? Let's get through the dividend. That has a little bit of impact. Be a great spot. Intel. Love trading bullishly out of handles when I get confirmation. IWM looks. So we're starting to see a few things in the setup. Some things are at resistance. Some things have already started to consolidate. I'm looking at the things that are starting to consolidate. They're leading in the initial, what we would expect to be a minor pullback. If they start to stuff, it absolutely didn't get all the way back, but it's close. We'll see. Microsoft is at or near its 6-month high at this point. Microsoft did give a higher low right here. This was a bit of a tough trade, but if you took all of these are good enough to trade. It's just now that we assess them as good enough, you got to be patient for the next trade to develop. You can't just force it to be like, wow, now it's great. Yeah, it did. It had 7 great days in a row. Look to your left and tell me how many times you see 7 great days followed by 7 more great days without some reds and some consolidation in there. So NWSA News Corp here, but I'm okay with this one still. Place PGR. I don't like PGR as much. I like AIG the best, followed by AFL. Palantir looks like a bit of a consult. Anyone still trade this? What are we looking for here? If you are, start to pull back. Look at the volume. This is sellers. The buyers they stopped 3 days ago. Be wary of how much are you going to let it? Are you going to wait for it to pull back? Be ready to go here. The ones we said we liked the most. I forgot to write it down. Capital One did look pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, Capital One has a nice look to it. AIG does. Gap looks like it's getting interesting. Maybe IBM. All right. Palantir does. There's QQQ overextended. Here's my next trade. Royal Caribbean, the airlines, travel stocks, all of a sudden looking significantly stronger once again. Straight up to straight back down. And now what? Straight up again. It's like a ride on the cruise. Pull back. Shopify, same. SMCI doesn't really look that strong. You know, here is the SPY. Tombstone Doji is how I would see that. A couple of money shots. Boom, boom. Body shots. Yeah, they busted above that 437 level. We'll see what happens. Buyers coming a little bit in at the end of the day. They're still very unconvincing in general, the buyers. Right. Definitely still a little. Tesla. I'm not convinced about Tesla. I think it needs to show more of a pullback. VIX looks quite strong right now. Not really even a hint of a hedge signal setting up here. Right now, if we saw, what would it take? If I saw a big push back up and then a small push back down, well, that's the setup right in there. where we're like, wait a second, they came right back in. You see this, you get those hedges ready to go, right? If we see a less pronounced upswing, maybe into this area here, from there, even one more. It'd be great if we could get back to 12, 13. That's where we were pre-pandemic. We haven't been there since that, right? This is the lowest. We got 12.68 back there in September, right before things got nasty again. Moderna. Yeah, Moderna's been getting beat up for sure. Asked about Costco on a pullback. Let's see. I do like Walmart on a pullback. I do like Costco on a pullback. Yeah, absolutely. As long as that pullback doesn't drop below about 550. 560, 550 to 560, right? Moderna, mRNA. Not selling as many vaccines these days, apparently. Oh, what a wild ride Moderna was. Really quickly after the pandemic began. We were back here. Oh yeah, I was back here, and then it went insane, right? In this like height of the, and then it's just kind of all the way back down. What happened? Still room to go. Pandemic, that's down here. So, interesting progression. Coming out of these earnings, what happened? Yeah, they said earnings, they were going to only lose 2. They lost 9. Holy shit, that's a lot. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I would definitely watch this to see if another higher low sequence developed. It's choppy around the earnings. Where were we? Starbucks looks great, but strong on the after. See if this gives us a consolidation. Shopify, same. Patience is a virtue. Don't force trades now, late in the cycle. Makes for a good time. WMB. Oh, actually looks quite nice. I don't like energy much, but they're strong. I would maybe consider that as a representation. Walmart on a pullback. I think I might like Costco a little better, actually. Energy doesn't look great. Financials looks like a bull flag, looks pretty strong. Industrials, possibly in a consolidation. And then you can see staples and utilities have both slowed down a little bit. Exxon, it's been making lower lows, lower highs. I only want it if people are interested in it. How would I know that? Well, I can put my consolidation line in here. And I could catch a move and then maybe catch another move. Sort of like back in here. Catch a move, wait for a consolidation. Would have had an opportunity. 2-3 windows. That's what we want coming out of these big consolidations. We should be thinking stocks are going to start giving us 2 or 3 windows of trading opportunity. Right? Potentially. Get one in January again. Then we get a nice March and April again. Come on, let's feel. Everything looks pretty good right now. Fed leaves it alone. Absolutely. Did I look at everything? Did I get them all? Here's the VIX at or near lows for the day. So I'm assuming that means that we're holding up on this last bit of bullishness here. You can see it busted up out. And it's trying to hold on. Okay. Shiny gold metal coming my way. It's a little quiet today. I'm hoping that trading's been going well. If not, why not? How about that? Give me that. Are you trading? Are you risk at the right levels based on the conditions that you're seeing? You're willing to put it out there. I'm not going to say the name. Whoever answers this, I'm not going to put your name. What's been the problem? What are you doing wrong? What are the mistakes? And I don't mean August, September, October. I mean in the last 8 days. What are the mistakes in the last 8 days? There's an answer that came in. That's a tough one. Because I commensurate with John said, John, I'm going to put you with it. John said I was not bullish enough. I'm gonna put an asterisk with that. I agree with him. I say the same thing. I wish I had more bullish on. But should we have had? I followed my rule. I told everybody what I would do. 2 days up, bam, half my profits. 2 days, half. Sometimes I'm not that specific. Sometimes I'm like, if I get a few days, I might take anywhere from a 25 to 50%. Minus 0.5, and it dropped to 1.5. Everything was looking kind of nasty. I have to adjust. I have to make that. I gave it at this low point, right? It's got to be Monday, Tuesday at the worst. But when I got my 2 days up, still in them? No, they did everything I asked. Run, yes. But did I follow my rule? Yeah. Do I wish I would have had 2 or 3 times as many trades? Hell yeah, I do. I don't know if that means that I wasn't bullish enough or if I was too timid. I feel like I followed my rules. Now, if you're saying, you know what, my rules said to do more, but I hesitated in it, then I agree. Too timid, that needs to be evaluated, right? That should be looked at deeper, where you're like, I wanted to trade more, and then I just sort of hesitated. Well, what would cause that hesitation? Fear, right? And our answer to that should be: don't let the chimp out of the cage. Tightens the lock, gets back to the computer, and gets back to business. War and debt. Yeah, we always have war and debt. That's pretty standard conditions, really, over time. Has shown itself to be useful, exceedingly useful, time and time again. I like that. If it's an empirical assessment where you can translate it into a number and a rule, I feel you. I hear you, man. All right. Well, at the end, but still holding above 437. Oh, we're getting close. The bees are gonna complain to me if I call it early now. So I gotta yap for another minute or two. Why is SoFi down on great earnings? I don't even have to look at it. Right? I don't even have to look at it. And if they exceed expectations, they're like, oh, we have anything you say once you say the word but. We did great, but next year, we're say I'm out, I'm done here, right? And that's what happens. They've adjusted expectations, and people are going to sell to meet those expectations. Great question. All right. What percent of cash is deployed in my trading right now? Somewhere between maybe 10 and 20%, maybe 30. I've got a couple of butterflies on. Yeah, so not much. Not much. Yeah, waiting to do the right thing. Awesome. Okay, I've given it every opportunity it needs to declare A's, the victors today. Does anybody remember who chose A's today? I'm trying to remember if I wrote it down. Oh wait, yeah, I did. Congratulations, Scott and John, shiny gold medals. I'll be strutting around the house. So there you go. Patience is a virtue, Bill said. I agree. Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. It's good to see you. Let's resume this discussion Friday morning. We'll have a sense of always happy trading.